I'm Officer Jack Malone. Badge 4279, 19 years deep on the force. And these roads are my domain. Etched into my bones through endless patrols, late-night chases, and a gut that saved my hide more times than I can count. You don't make it this long without a razor-sharp instinct for trouble. Forged by every speeder I've clocked, every drunk I've hauled in, and every driver who thought they could outsmart me. Route 52, a winding stretch on the edge of town. Looks peaceful with its rolling hills and sparse traffic, but it's a lifeline for lawbreaker speeders weaving through. Drunk drivers stumbling home. Guys who think a broken taillight can slip past unnoticed. And let's be real, it's usually the same crowd behind the wheel. Black men in decent cars. Always with that look, too calm, too collected. Like they're hiding something under the surface. I don't create the trends, I just enforce the law. And that's been my mission for nearly 2 decades. It's a Thursday evening, May 15th, 2023, just after 7. The sun dipping low over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple, casting long shadows across the asphalt. I'm parked in my cruiser on the shoulder, radar gun humming softly, eyes scanning the road for anything out of place. A silver sedan cruises by, moving a bit too fast for the posted limit, and I catch a flicker, a broken taillight on the driver's side, its red glow stuttering like a warning sign. That's my cue. I pull out, lights flashing red and blue, and signal for the car to pull over. It does, smooth and controlled, easing onto the gravel shoulder without a fuss. I step out, adjusting my belt, the weight of my badge a steady anchor. My flashlight in hand as I approach the driver's side, boots crunching on the gravel. The evening air cool against my face. The window rolls down, and I see him, a black man, mid-30s, dressed in a collared shirt unbuttoned over scrubs. His face calm but guarded, hands resting on the wheel. My gut pings immediately, something's off. Maybe he's rushing from a deal. Maybe he's got contraband stashed in the trunk. Maybe he's fleeing something I can't see. I've pulled over enough drivers to know the signs. License and registration. I say, my voice sharp, cutting through the quiet hum of the engine, letting him know I'm in charge. He nods. A slow, deliberate motion, and reaches for the glove box with a steady hand, pulling out the papers, then hands over his license. Marcus Ellis. Local address in the nicer part of town. I run it through my portable scanner, expecting a hit warrant. Priors, something to back up my hunch. Nothing. Clean as a whistle. Doesn't mean he's innocent. Though, my gut's still buzzing. Louder now, telling me there's more to this guy than meets the eye. Broken taillight. I say, shining my flashlight into the car, sweeping the interior back seat. Floorboards. Dashboard looking for anything suspicious. Anything to justify the knot in my stomach. You in a hurry? Marcus, I ask, my tone edged with suspicion, watching his every move. He looks at me, his eyes steady, unflinching. It's Dr. Ellis. He corrects, his voice calm but firm, carrying a weight that catches me off guard. I'm on my way to St. Mary's Hospital for my shift. I didn't realize the taillight was out. Doctor, I smirk, not buying it for a second. Step out of the vehicle. I order, my hand resting on my holster, my flashlight still trained on him. He hesitates. Just a beat. And that's my first red flag. Nobody pauses unless they're thinking of running or hiding something. Now, I bark, stepping back, my stance widening. Officer, I'm cooperating fully, he says, his tone steady, almost clinical, like he's addressing a patient instead of a cop with a flashlight. That pisses me off. Nobody talks to me like that unless they're testing my authority. Trying to flip the script. He steps out, hands visible. His scrubs now fully noticeable under the open shirt. A stethoscope dangling from his neck. Turn around. Hands on the hood. I say, my flashlight sweeping him again. My voice brooking no argument. He complies. Slow and deliberate. His movements precise, like he's used to staying calm under pressure surgeons' hands. Maybe, but I'm not convinced yet. I pat him down. Rough and thorough. Checking every pocket. Every seam. Looking for drugs. Weapons. Anything to validate this stop. Nothing, just a phone. Keys. A hospital badge tucked into his shirt pocket. Dark. Marcus Ellis. Chief of Surgery. Sane. Mary's Hospital. My gut twists. A cold knot forming. But I shove it down. Could be a fake. A prop to throw me off. I tell myself, clinging to the narrative I've built, you expect me to believe you're a doctor. I say, pulling the badge out and tossing it onto the hood. The plastic clattering against the metal. You're speeding. Got a broken taillight. And you look suspicious as hell. He turns his head slightly, hands still on the hood, his eyes meeting mine with a quiet intensity. I am a doctor. Officer, he said, his voice low but resolute. I save lives every day at St. Mary's. You're detaining me for a taillight when I'm needed in the OR for an emergency bypass. My gut flares. Nobody questions a cop unless they're playing a game. And this guy's too smooth. Too composed. You're under arrest for obstruction. I say, slapping the cuffs on, the metal clicking loud in the quiet evening. My decision final despite the unease creeping up my spine. I'm in control. Or at least I tell myself I am. As I march him to my cruiser, cuffs tight around his wrists, my hand gripping his arm through the fabric of his shirt. The road's empty. The only sound the crunch of gravel under my boots. But a passing car slows. Its driver staring. Phone out. The lens glinting like a predator's eye. Great. Another viral moment brewing. But I'm too deep to back off now. You're making a mistake. Officer, he says, his voice low. No trace of panic. Just a quiet certainty that burrows under my skin. That bugs me. Most people would be pleading, their voices cracking with fear, begging for mercy. But he's too calm, too composed, like he's already 3 steps ahead, diagnosing my every move. Keep talking, and I'll add resisting. I snap, shoving him into the back of the cruiser. The door slamming with a heavy thud that reverberates down Route 52. His voice cuts through the closed window. Calm but firm. You're delaying critical care. Officer, That digs deeper, but I push it down. Doesn't matter. He's still a suspect. Still fits the profile I've built over 19 years. I radio dispatch. Reporting a male suspect. E6. Detained for obstruction. Possible traffic violations. My tone clipped as I try to focus on the procedure. My hands grip the wheel as I pull away. But my gut's nagging. That hospital badge and those scrubs burning a hole in my mind. I push it down. Could be a fake. A student prank. A tactic I've seen before to dodge a ticket. In the rearview mirror, he's sitting upright, staring ahead. No fear. No sweat. Just a resolve that sets my nerves on edge. That's not normal. I've hauled in plenty speeders. Drunks. Guys with something to hide, and they all crack eventually. Their bravado melting under the weight of cuffs in a holding cell. Not this guy. He's poised, like he's presiding over an operating table in his head, waiting for the right incision. You got anything to say? I ask, my voice gruff, trying to rattle him, to get some kind of reaction I can use to solidify my case. He meets my eyes in the mirror, his gaze unflinching, and says, I'll address this at the station, but my patient may not survive your delay. My stomach flips. It's not defiance, just authority, like he's already calculating the odds. And that hits harder than I expect. We pull into the precinct, and I'm back in my element, fluorescent lights casting stark shadows, keyboards clattering, the hum of authority filling the air. I march him inside, cuffs glinting under the harsh lights, and sit him in holding, the metal chair creaking as he settles. His posture still composed despite the situation. The desk sergeant, Carter, gives me a look, his brow furrowing like I've brought in a live grenade, his eyes darting between me and Marcus. I ignore it, sit at my desk, and start typing the report: obstruction, traffic violation, maybe reckless driving to bolster the charge. I'm good at this. Stacking violations, building a case, keeping the road safe. But Marcus is calm, sitting there, hands resting on his knees, his gaze distant, like he's mentally reviewing a surgical procedure instead of facing a cop's interrogation. You got a story yet? I ask, leaning back in my chair, my tone daring him to crack, to give me something I can latch onto and run with. He looks at me, his eyes steady, unwavering, and says, I'm Dr. Marcus Ellis, Chief of Surgery at St. Mary's Hospital. I was on my way to perform an emergency bypass surgery on a 45-year-old patient with a blocked coronary artery. You've detained me for a broken taillight, and every minute you waste could cost a life. A doctor. I laugh, the sound harsh and grating in the quiet precinct, echoing off the concrete walls. Nice story. Marcus, prove it. I say, my skepticism a shield against the doubt creeping in. He nods toward his wallet, which I've logged into evidence, and I fish out the hospital badge again. Dr. Marcus Ellis, Chief of Surgery, St. Mary's Hospital, with an official seal and a photo that matches his face perfectly. My gut sinks, a cold weight settling in my chest, but I shove it down. Could still be a fake, a prop to throw me off. I tell myself, clinging to the narrative I've built over years of stops like this, Carter comes over, his face tight, his voice low so the other cops don't overhear. A rare edge to his usual calm. Malone, you sure about this guy? I shrug, annoyance flaring. My defense is rising. Pulled him for a broken taillight. Acted suspicious. Wouldn't fully cooperate. What's the issue? Carter glances at Marcus, then back at me, his voice dropping even lower. Almost a whisper. That's Dr. Ellis? Malone, chief of surgery at St. Mary's. The guy who saved the mayor's life last year after that heart attack. He's a big deal around here. And that stop, it's already on X, blowing up like a damn wildfire. My blood runs cold, a chill creeping up my spine. My hands suddenly clammy around the pen I've been using. I grab my phone, fingers trembling. And there it is, a video, crystal clear, posted by the driver who passed us on Route 52. Me cuffing him, barking orders, my voice dripping with contempt. His voice steady. I'm a doctor, on my way to surgery, and you're detaining me. The video's got 2 million views in under an hour. Hashtags Drellis and racist cop trending hard. My name a lightning rod. Badge 4279, plastered across the internet like a scarlet letter. The precinct's a pressure cooker now. The air thick with tension. The sound of radios crackling with urgent updates. Carter pulls up the video on his tablet, showing me the stats views climbing past 3 million. Comments pouring in like a flood. Racist cop arrests a doctor. Malone's finished. Free Dr. Ellis. My name's everywhere. A trending topic for all the wrong reasons. Badge 4279, a symbol of everything wrong with the system. The door swings open with a bang, and a woman in scrubs storms in mid-40s, her face flushed with urgency, a stethoscope bouncing against her chest. Where's Dr. Ellis? She demands, her voice sharp. Cutting through the noise, I'm Dr. Laura Bennett, his colleague. He's needed in the OR for an emergency bypass. Where is he? My stomach drops. A hollow pit opening up inside me. Marcus is out of cuffs now, standing with Dr. Bennett, his presence filling the room like he's about to step into surgery. Officer Malone, he says, his voice low. Steady? You should have verified my identity before escalating this. My patient's life is on the line. His eyes aren't angry, just disappointed. And that cuts deeper than any insult. Sharper than the cuffs I put on him. Darn. Bennett's rattling off terms, malpractice liability, hospital lawsuits, patient endangerment, her voice, a medical barrage that makes my head spin. Carter pulls me aside, his voice a harsh whisper. You arrested a chief of surgery. Malone. He's got a patient on the table. The hospital's in chaos. And that video's on every news site from here to the coast. The chief's on the phone with the mayor. And you're in deep. I'm sent to the sergeant's office. And it's a massacre. You detain Dr. Marcus Ellis for a broken taillight. My sergeant roars, slamming his desk so hard the computer monitor wobbles. Papers scattering to the floor. He's the chief of surgery at St. Mary's, a local hero who saved the mayor's life. And you delayed an emergency operation. That video's at 5 million views. The hospital's threatening to sue, and the mayor's demanding your badge. I try to explain broken taillight. Suspicious behavior. My gut telling me he was trouble, but it's like shouting into a hurricane. Your gut's a career ender. Malone. He snaps, his face red with fury, veins bulging at his temples. You're suspended. Effective immediately. Badge. Gun. Now. I'm numb. My hands moving on autopilot as I hand over my badge. My service weapon. My identity as a cop. The precinct's a blur as I walk out. Cops avoiding my eyes. Whispers trailing me like a bad smell coward. Racist. Idiot, each word a lash against my pride. I'm home, collapsing onto my couch. A bottle of whiskey in hand. X an absolute nightmare. The videos on every platform, CNN, MSNBC, local news, even international outlets like BBC, covering it with headlines like surgeon arrested in shocking police, stop delays life-saving surgery. Marcus's face is everywhere, scrubs. Operating room. Shaking hands with the mayor at a charity gala. His hands steady over an open chest. Mine's the villain's. Captured mid-rant. A racist cop who cuffed a doctor for a taillight. My face contorted with suspicion as he stood calm and composed. I dig into Marcus, desperate to find something. Anything. To justify what I did. Darn. Marcus Ellis, chief of surgery at St. Mary's Hospital, renowned for pioneering heart transplant techniques, a community leader who volunteers at free clinics, a man who saved the mayor's life last year after a sudden cardiac arrest. He's a graduate of Johns Hopkins, board certified, with awards lining his office walls, a husband and father of two, a pillar in the medical world. He's not just a doctor, he's a hero. And I treated him like a common criminal, all because he was black. Driving a silver sedan with a broken taillight. My stomach churns, a wave of nausea hitting me hard. My hands trembling as I pour another drink. But I tell myself it was just a bad call. A mistake any cop could make under pressure. The lie feels flimsy, crumbling under the weight of the truth staring back at me from every screen. Every news ticker, every social media post. The next week is a living hell. The videos everywhere, local news anchors dissecting my every move. National talk shows debating police profiling. Late-night comedians making me the punchline. Officer Malone thought he was busting a thug, but he got outsmarted by a surgeon. The crowd's laughter stings, but it's nothing compared to the protests clogging the hospital entrance in city streets. Signs with Marcus's face. My badge number scrawled in black marker. Chance of justice for Dr. Ellis, echoing through the air. Medical groups demand my firing. Civil rights organizations issue statements condemning racial profiling. And the hospital releases a statement praising Marcus's dedication while hinting at legal action against the department. I'm on desk duty, pushing papers in a back office, a ghost in my own precinct. My buddies keep their distance, like I'm a walking plague. Their eyes sliding away when I pass, their silence louder than any condemnation. The sergeant barely speaks to me, just hands me more forms. His face a mask of disappointment. His silence a judgment all its own. I'm a pariah. My career bleeding out with every newscast. Every tweet. I check X obsessively. Each post a knife twisting deeper. Malone's a racist pig. Dr. Ellis deserves respect. Protect and serve. My ass. I want to scream that they're wrong. that I was just doing my job, enforcing traffic laws, following my instincts. But the footage doesn't lie. I look like a bully, looming over him, voice dripping with contempt, while he stands there, calm, unshaken, a doctor caught in my crosshairs. I think about the other stops I've made over the years, countless faces, countless names, all blending into a blur of suspicion. Black professionals, Hispanic workers, anyone who didn't fit my idea of a law-abiding driver. I told myself it was instinct, cop sense, a tool to keep the road safe. But now I see it for what it was. Bias, dressed up as duty, ingrained over 19 years. I never questioned it, never thought twice. Until now. Until Dr. Marcus Ellis. Until the whole world saw me for what I am, a cop who let prejudice dictate his actions. I talked to my partner, Eddie, over beers at a dive bar, hoping for some kind of validation, some shred of understanding to cling to. He's old school like me, been on the force 20 years, and he shrugs it off, sipping his Bud Light, the foam clinging to his mustache. Guy had a broken taillight. Malone, you did what you had to. These people always play the victim when it suits them. But his words feel hollow, like a script we've both recited too many times, worn thin by repetition. Eddie doesn't see the operating room, the scalpel, the lives Marcus holds in his hands. He's still stuck in the US versus them mindset. Same as I was. I want to argue, to tell him it's not that simple anymore. That I've crossed a line I can't uncross. That Marcus's calm under pressure haunts me. But I don't. He wouldn't get it. I'm not sure I do either. Not fully. At home, I'm alone. The whiskey bottle, my only companion. My badge on the table like a relic of a life I've lost. I think about my daughter. Grown now. Living across the state. Her last call, a strained, "I'm busy" months ago. What would she think? Seeing me in that video, knowing I'm the cop who targeted Dr. Ellis, I think about my dad. Another cop, his voice echoing in my head. Keep the roads clean. Jack. No matter who's driving. Clean. That's what I thought I was doing. But all I did was smear dirt on everything Marcus's night. My career. My name. I'm not sure who I am without the badge. But I'm starting to think I never really knew. The investigation's a formality. But it's a brutal one. Internal Affairs has everything. My body cam. The passerby's video. Marcus's statement. Calm and precise. Laying out my violations like a surgical report. Unlawful arrest. Discriminatory conduct. Excessive force. All of it documented with the weight of his medical authority. My union rep tries to fight officer discretion. Public safety. The need to enforce traffic laws, but it's a losing battle. The department's under siege. The city council's facing pressure from the hospital and medical associations. And I'm the sacrificial lamb. The termination notice comes down swift and final. No pension. No benefits. Just a letter telling me to clear out my locker and vanish. 19 years on the force. And it's over in a single memo. X is a graveyard of my career. My name forever tied to Marcus's story. A footnote in his rising legacy. He's on every channel. Performing surgeries. Speaking at medical conferences. His face on hospital billboards with the tagline "Healing Hands." I'm the villain. The racist cop who cuffed a doctor for a broken taillight. A cautionary tale in his narrative. Protests continue outside saying, Marys, doctors and nurses holding signs with Marcus's face. My badge number scrawled in black. A symbol of everything they're fighting against. The hospital pushes for police reform. The mayor promises oversight. And the world moves on without me. I pack up what's left of my life and move to a small town 2 hours away. Taking a job as a night security guard at a factory. It's quiet. Lonely. A far cry from the adrenaline of the cruiser. The pulse of Route 52. I'm just Jack now. No badge. No power. Just a guy with regrets piling up like unpaid bills. I start reading books on race, on medical history, on the cultural context I never bothered to learn. It's like swallowing glass, each page a painful reminder of my ignorance. But I need to understand why I failed. How I became this person I don't even recognize anymore. I learn about the history of Black professionals in America. The way they've been targeted, profiled, stopped doctors like Marcus, who've had to fight for every degree, every patient, only to be pulled over by cops like me for a minor infraction. I read about systemic bias, about traffic stop disparities, about the way policing has been weaponized against people of color for decades. It's a mirror, and I hate what I see, but I can't look away. I think about my training, the locker room talk, the way we joke about keeping them in line. I was part of it. A cog in a machine I never questioned. And now that machine spit me out. Therapy's a new thing for me. A woman named Dr. Patel who makes me unpack my dad's lessons. My anger. The fear I never named. You saw what you were taught to see, she says during one session. Her voice calm but firm. What do you see now? I'm not sure, but I'm trying to figure it out. I start journaling, writing down every stop I can remember, every face, every name, trying to make sense of the damage I've done. It's a long list, longer than I expected, and it keeps me up at night. The guilt like a weight I can't shake. I write a letter to Marcus, pen and paper, my handwriting shaky from disuse. I apologize for the pullover, for the cuffs, for the assumptions I made, for the man I was that evening. I tell him I'm trying to change, to be better, to unlearn the things that led me to him. I don't send it. It's not for him, it's for me. A step toward accountability. A way to face the truth I've been running from. I keep the letter in a drawer. A reminder of the work I still have to do. I volunteer at a community center in my new town, teaching kids basic first aid. The irony as thick as the dust on the old bandages we use. I'm no surgeon, but I can show them how to stop bleeding, how to save a life in a pinch. They don't know my past, and I don't tell them. It's not about redemption, it's about doing something right. About honoring the doctor I wronged in some small way. The kids are bright, eager. Their questions filling the room. And for the first time in months, I feel a flicker of something like hope. I drive by Route 52 sometimes. Not to patrol, just to remember. I see drivers like Marcus, men in scrubs or suits, heads high, lives unfolding with purpose. I don't feel that itch anymore. That need to stop them, to judge them, to assert my control. I see people now, not threats, not stereotypes. It's not enough, not by a long shot, but it's a start. I think about my dad's voice, fading now, replaced by something new, something I'm still learning to hear. Marcus is out there, still saving lives, still leading. I saw him on the news, performing a complex surgery, his hands steady, his voice calm as he explained the procedure to a room of interns. He doesn't talk about me, doesn't need to. I'm a footnote in his story, a lesson he didn't ask to teach. I owe him more than a letter, more than regret. I owe him a world where he can drive to the hospital without a cop like me, assuming he's less. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. One day, one truth, one step at a time.